Everything is going up today, except some things are going up more than others. KLM, or the Kusama token, which is a test network of the Polkadot chain, is going up quite a lot. Now let's have a look at who's buying here, who's selling here. Let's look at some data most people are not considering. Because I believe this is the fundamentals of making money with trading, right? We want to have a market edge. We want to use information most people don't use. We want to dive deeper than most. Now let's start with the obvious. The price of Kusama is currently at $44 and went up by almost 80% today. We more than doubled this week and we appreciated by 145% this month. Now there are many ways to look at the performance of an asset. We can just look at the price in US dollars, but we can also look at relative valuations. How much does an asset outperform another one? And this is especially important when two assets are highly correlated, when they tend to move at the same direction in the same time. Now here's a description of correlation. And what we see over here is that most altcoins are more correlated with Ethereum than with Bitcoin. In other words, this number here is higher than this number over here. When Ethereum goes up, the altcoins tend to go up as well. This is not as much true for Bitcoin. And so here is the relative valuation chart of Kusama to Ethereum. We tended to trend downwards for a long time, an underperformance of 85%. But we did see our occasional rallies of more than 100%. And we are again in such a rally. Now, are we going to see a subsequent dump again relative to ETH? Nobody knows. But it is interesting to see what happened historically. Now, why did this happen here? I think one explanation is expanding supply. So have a look at this long-term price chart of Kusama. At one point we were at above $500. And now this recent rally is just a small little blip on the price chart. But when we compare this to the market cap chart, this little blip suddenly becomes much larger. So we went up in market cap much more than we went up in the price. And that is of course because the token supply expands over time. There's actually no cap to the supply of Kusama. Now Kusama is closely interlinked with Polkadot, right? Polkadot is the main chain, Kusama is the testnet. And so Polkadot's performance relative to Ethereum also was not that great. It went also down by 85%. And it's also now outperforming recently. And so it's interesting to just have a look at what is KSM doing relative to Polkadot. And unfortunately, over the very long term, it's doing worse than Polkadot. And it shows that we might be somewhat heated. We are already coming down somewhat. Again, relative to DOT, not necessarily in the US dollar denominated chart. Now, not everything is bad for Kusama. There is actually some kind of usage increase that we can see on chain. Let's have a look at those statistics now. Check this out. This is the Kusama power chain versus relay chain upward messaging passing. So it's basically a metric of how much Kusama is used in the ecosystem. And this is at an all-time high. Here's the same for the downward message passing, also at an all-time high. And so yes, with this price rally, of course, the total value locked on Polkadot is going up. That makes a lot of sense because a lot of assets on Polkadot are linked to the DOT price. It is interesting though how the 1 month total value locked change on those decentralized apps is very much in line with the price increase during that time. So it's not necessarily more usage, it's simply just the assets gaining value. That's why the TVL is up. Is Polkadot, so the mother chain, used much more? The answer is yes, recently, slightly, but it does come in spikes. There's no long-term adoption. This is a long-term chart though. It starts in August of 2020. Here is what I think is going on. It seems like the centralized exchanges are currently pushing up a lot of the tokens that they hold on their books. Not all of the tokens that a centralized exchange owns is custodied tokens, right? It's not all customer funds. Some tokens are also just held for market making. And so when everybody is positive, when everybody is bullish, it might make sense to generate some attention through a price rally. It might make sense to bid up the price a bit, generate some attention, and then be able to potentially offload at those higher prices, right? Most trading volume now happens on Binance. That's on the spot market, but also on the perpetual futures market. We see that Binance is leading with 1.7 billion worth of trading volume. And so to me, it appears as if this rally in Kusama and in Polkadot is not 100% natural. It appears as if the market makers are pushing a lot of those kind of tokens now. But the real upside, I believe, the real edge is still with the on-chain tokens. So just have a look at what performed best in the last 7 days. It's not necessarily only the tokens that are in the billions of dollars. Most of the best performers in the last week were just in the millions or tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions. But Kusama is already close to $1 billion. The question though is when we trade those smaller tokens, the upside is of course higher, but also the risk of failure is higher, right? Not all of those tokens rally. Thus, it's more important to have even more information. The way how I try to find those rallying tokens early is through wallet tracking. So I monitor various wallets of other influencers, of insiders, of top traders, and I try to buy when they are buying. For example, have a look at this. This is an alert by the Martini guy that bought the Moon token when it was at 4066. That was directly on the Pump Fun platform. The token subsequently had a massive pump of more than 1000%, then had a dump, and even after the dump, the price is still higher. It's at 3013. So it's still double the price after we have crashed that much. That's how early that signal was. And so here is that influencer, right? The Martini guy. He's got 149,000 subscribers and we have 12 of his wallets that we are tracking. Now, not all of those signals are as crazy, right? For example, here Alex Becker is buying the Spectre token. Spectre has been around for a while. He bought for $2.46. And now we are at $2.67 a few hours later. So a simple gain of 10% in a few hours. Now, the reason why the token hasn't yet gone up further is probably because Alex Becker hasn't yet announced this on his channel, right? He's got 1.5 million subscribers. When he talks about a token, of course the token has to go up because of all that additional attention. By the way, we've also got 12 of Alex Becker's wallets. In total, we track more than 400 wallets. And so I really like this approach. I like to follow the insiders. I think it's much better than picking random tokens on a list. It's better to follow the money that tends to make a lot of money too. We don't have to be in the close network of those people. We simply just need to figure out their wallets. And that's again through on-chain analytics. Here's a dedicated tutorial section on influencer tracking, on influencer wallet discovery. There's 8 videos in total. How do we find influencer wallets? How can we track them? And how can we interpret the signals that we get from the tracking? It's all part of the premium membership of this channel that's down below, thebitcointrader.com. Premium is not just about wallet tracking, it's also about risk mitigation, it's also about on-chain analytics, it's about backtesting. There's more than 100 videos in total. Once we have a wallet signal, we of course also have to discuss when should we buy, when should we sell. We have to compare our on-chain analytics. That's why we've got dedicated chats on the individual altcoins as well. So feel free to check it out. It's currently $125 per month. There's also a 1-week money back guarantee. So in case you don't like premium, in case you don't make money, just message me within the first week and I will refund you 100%. There's really zero risk for you. So can Kusama rise further? Yes, of course it can. The issue though is that attention is already at a peak. And at some point the market makers might consider taking some profit and push the next altcoin that they own. If you got some value out of this video, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you in the next video or see you in premium. Cheers.